5-3. Going on 6-3. The LA Chargers are going to go and beat the Tennessee Titans. Remember the who?
Who?
Neither do I. Yeah, I am confident in this game. I know every week, any given Sunday, the whole yada yada yada. But Jim Harbaugh, in Harbaugh we trust. Jim Harbaugh is going to lead this team against a lesser opponent in every which way there is. I don't mean to boast, but I am confident that we are going to get a W on Sunday. And welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I, of course, cheer for the LA Chargers. Across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, here's the deal. Week 10 matchup with the Titans.
Boom.
The only reason I'm interested in this game is so that you can smash them and they're worn out to face us in week 11.
Exactly. We got to work together, just like when you played the Chiefs last. I was asking you guys to work with us. Didn't work out that time, but we're here. We're here. The Vikings Chargers, so many connections, we gotta write this list down. Past players, coaches, rivalries, all you name it. There's so many connections between the Chargers and Vikings. For another day. But yeah, we will. We are that team. We are that rough, mean football team that's going to go in there and beat first-year head coach Bryce Callahan. We're going to beat Mason Rudolph, who's coming in support for Will Levis.
Is he still starting?
He's still. Well, I mean, I'm assuming because they won. They won in overtime. It was OT against the Patriots. Like, this is exactly the type of team. Like, our defense hasn't allowed 20 points. They just scored 20 points to the Patriots. Holy moly. If they score 20 points on us, like, that's not going to happen. I was going to put myself in a position to drink a lot of alcohol right there. So we're going to go in, we're going to absolutely dismantle them. Where are we at here? So it's in LA. Titans coming to town with a 2-6 record, 5-3 on our end. We're both coming off wins. They beat the Patriots, as I mentioned, in overtime. We dismantled the Cleveland Browns. Totally different opponent here. The Browns were a tougher opponent, in my opinion, than the Titans.
Yeah.
Tony Pollard ran for 28 times for 120 plus yards. They're absolutely relying on him. Mason Rudolph, yes, he threw 2 touchdowns, but this is against a team that's battling for the first overall pick. I don't know. And on top of all of this, we got 2 of their secondary. We traded for one, we signed another in free agency. This I know it's a new regime, but they know the players out there, the familiarity. We just talked about the Cam Robinson and the familiarity with the Jags and the Vikings there. And we kind of have that here as well. First year head coach against Jim Harbaugh. Give me a break. Come on. It's going to be tough. Quarterback who has been a backup and not necessarily in the good sense. Mason Rudolph, most infamously known for getting the lights beat out of him by Myles Garrett with a helmet. Can't believe that guy's still in the league. Crazy. He's going to get confused. Jesse Minter's defense, so much pressure going to be there. Our guys on the outside, they're going to be covering. They got rid of D-Hop, so now they've got Calvin Ridley, leading the way with that receiving group. Tyler Boyd. They should be more of an offensive team than they have been with Bryce Callahan, former OC from the Bengals, who just got hired. It's not really working out. Their defense also, not the best. They're in the bottom third of the league in terms of many metrics. I think the way Herbert has been lighting it up the last 3 weeks, I think that's going to continue here. DJ Chark hopefully finally gets back. But we saw what Quentin Johnston did last week. 4 catches, like 111 yards. Big 66-yard touchdown. Incredible. So Ladd McConkey also doing well. We didn't do anything at the trade deadline. Same old Chargers in that regard. Definitely, I want it. I'm excited, but I did hear Harbaugh say, listen, I'm happy with all the guys that we have in the entire locker room.
It was a pretty slow trade deadline, though, in all fairness.
It was. Overall, absolutely. Apparently, we were in the sweepstakes for Marshawn Lattimore, which would have been crazy. I heard rumors that David Njoku was a trade target of ours to beef up the tight end room. That would have been crazy. Yeah. T. Higgins, that whole report. Oh man, I love hearing the rumors for some of these big superstars, but yeah, it's not going to happen. And hey, it doesn't necessarily need to happen. We're 5-3. We've got a nice couple of weeks ahead of us before we play the Ravens on Thanksgiving, and I think we can build the momentum here. We've got all the pieces. It's this bunch of misfits that finally get together under Harbaugh and get a good coaching staff, get them in the right mindset to play smash mouth football, and we're going to do that with Tennessee. What do you think? Like, who on Tennessee is going to give us any sort of anything?
DeAndre
No.
I guess you'll have to play him at another time in the year.
Right.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Well, you're talking about Pollard, right? Like, Pollard would be the one. But you guys have a great run defense, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of tough for them, right? They might have to rely on Mason Rudolph being more of a gunslinger, kind of just letting it loose and seeing if whoever the hell the receivers are can make a play,
100%. But and they've got Calvin Ridley too. Sure, maybe, but it goes back to Mason Rudolph, and if you can't get him the ball, if you're getting confused by what Jesse Minter is putting out there, I'm excited. I really am.
I'm excited too.
May be overlooking this game, but the reason why I feel comfortable with overlooking this game is because I know Jim Harbaugh won't let them feel comfortable with overlooking this game.
It feels like one of those games, because I know that it's a different Titans team than years past, but it's a lot of the same players that have a similar grit and fight. You know what I mean? Like, they're a tough football team. They were constantly running the ball, a very Jim Harbaugh style of football in previous years. But it's a lot of the same players, right? So it's going to be one of those things that will likely be tougher than you're describing it. But your team should still come out with the win, right? Like the Chargers are looking up to be a great team, and 2 wins in a row kind of helps that momentum kind of build, and coming out 6-3 is huge.
Absolutely, especially with the schedule ahead. It's going to be good, but I'm so happy. We mentioned this earlier on in the season. When I can sit back and just truly enjoy watching football, not always at the edge of my seat, stressing out if the Chargers are going to charger at the end of the game. Jim Harbaugh has done a great job with this team, a turnaround in half a season. I can't wait. Second half, second year, what's going to come out of this? He's building it his own way. He's already done such an amazing job, and we're just going to continue to grow. Wow. No, it's exciting. Well, so, go ahead.
And you mentioned, this is a little bit further ahead. You mentioned that the Ravens, and preparing for that game. But you guys also, that's week 12. You guys got flexed week 11 against the Bengals into Sunday Night Football. right? That's another big game too. The Bengals are coming off of a 5 touchdown performance from
Joey B. Yeah, against the Raiders.
You guys have tough teams ahead, and it's kind of one of those things where, and I hate to say it, maybe this is one of those trap games, this Titans game, because you've got 2 tough opponents that are and like you said, Jim Harbaugh won't let them do this. They won't be like preparing for the Bengals and the Ravens now, while they have this opponent in front of them. They're not like that, but it's one of those things where that's like a reality in the National Football League, is a situation like this, and then you lose to an opponent that you shouldn't lose to, right? Like, it happens all the time in the league. So
100%, Brandon. Mm-hmm. I know it. I know the trap game. I've already thought about that. I still don't buy it. I truly believe Harbaugh will not let these players get complacent. They are vying not only to be a wild card team. He doesn't want that. I know we are 3 games, I guess, behind the Chiefs. They haven't had their bye yet, have they? Oh no, they have had their bye.
They're 8-0.
Yeah. We're 5-3. So we're 3 games behind them. With the momentum, we need to win. The Titans, Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs. We have 5 games. We're 3 games behind. Somehow, I don't know what the Chiefs' schedule is, but Harbaugh's not letting the team say, hey, we're going to be a wild card team this year. We're going for it all.
Yeah.
And if we fall short, bite them in the kneecap on the way up in the playoffs, all right? I'm going to take a book out of Dan Campbell's.
The thing is that being 3 games behind is one thing, but it's also like you got to think realistically about the Chiefs' rest of the season. It seems like they have 9 games left. It's going to be 5-4 at the very worst, right?
100%.
Which means they've got.
But if we are one of those,
yes. But you already have 3 losses, right? Like, it's so tough to catch a team like them.
I see.
You can do it. You can do it.
The realistic parameters here. I get it. Harbaugh is not. Hey, they can lose at any time. We will not lose.
Right.
This week.
Yeah.
Next week, same message. The week after, same message.
You guys have a brutal schedule coming up here.
Yeah, there's some that, like, after this week, right? We've got Bengals, like I said, Bengals, Ravens, Falcons, Chiefs. So those 4 games, tough. Bucks after that, tough. The final 3 games, Broncos, Patriots, Raiders.
Yeah.
So those 3, nice.
But that's a 4-game stretch. That's a big 4-game stretch. You need this win tonight. Or, sorry, not tonight. This week. This is a big game. Like, as much as it's just against the Titans, the stakes of the season are actually pretty high on this game, just because of the way the next 4 games play out. You know what I mean?
And 100%. 3 of the next 4 are also AFC teams, so huge implications when it comes to the playoffs, especially with these 3 teams. Like, this is Ravens somehow sitting. I believe they're sitting back behind Pittsburgh when it comes to the wild card. So, division lead.
Oh, really? It's because they started 0-2. That was rough.
And the Steelers.
I guess so. Yeah.
Even switching, I think they're honestly tied.
They're tied, but it's got to be like divisional games or something.
It's got to be something like it's a tiebreaker or something. Yeah. But okay, let's get into it. Let's get into this scoring prediction. I think it's going to be a dominating fashion for this. Mason Rudolph. That run game. Oh my goodness. I'm so tempted to do single digits for the Titans. Single digits for the Titans.
6 points.
I was thinking about that, but just to give me a little bit more breathing room, I'm going to go 9.
9 points.
I'm going to go 9. The defense is thinking, we just beat out Jameis Winston here. We let him get that touchdown late. I don't like it. So they're going to continue that momentum. I am going to say we are going to score 27-9. That is my prediction there. Herbert continues the momentum. The fire, the wide receiver unit continues to grow, continues to blossom. J.K. Dobbins maybe even regains his form to early season, excuse me.
He was pretty good this last game. 2 touchdowns.
No, 2 touchdowns, of course. I think the whole team as a unit allowed that. Yeah, one was a shorter touchdown. The other, it was a pretty big run. No hate on J.K. Dobbins. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying we're going back to the dominating 120 plus rushing yards, and maybe 2 tutties as well. We'll see. Okay, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome, or not welcome. If you are a Chargers fan, Vikings fan of the NFL, we want to build a community. Please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, hitting the notification bell. Really does help us out. Say hi in the chat, comments, whatever. Brandon, send us off.
Skol Bolts!
Skol Bolts.
Okay, bye.